Ladies and gentlemen, Season 6 of Black Ops Cold War is somewhat here, and what I mean by that is tonight we get the Black Ops Cold War update, tomorrow night we get the Warzone update, and when the Warzone update goes live, that is when all of Season 6 is live across everything. So tonight, basically, the big thing that we got was the update for Black Ops Cold War, which has a bunch of different little weapon changes, but on top of that, there are some other little things we're going to look at here and there. As far as like all of the maps, the new zombies map and everything like that, that will be coming out tomorrow night when the Warzone update goes live, and of course with that the start of Season 6. But in this video what we're going to do is look at everything that has changed in the Black Ops Cold War update, including all the weapon updates. So here it is, everything that changed in the Season 6 Black Ops Cold War update. So right away when you boot up the game after the update, you're going to notice some differences in the background. So first of all, we have Warzone. As you can see, I believe that's Stadium in the background, totally destroyed from the seismic blast. Very interested to see what that looks like tomorrow night. And then when we go over to multiplayer, we can see Adler in the background with the deprogramming sequence going on. But even cooler, at least in my opinion, is when you actually go to multiplayer, the background has changed so significantly. This is during the deprogramming map, which we're going to talk about in a second here. But on top of all of this, you can see Stitch's kind of simulation in the background, things floating. This is going to be the craziest new map, and in fact, let's dive in and talk about that. So moving into some things that were not added tonight, but rather will be added tomorrow night. First of all, we have the new maps. So the first one that we have is called Deprogram. Now, this is a really cool map. It actually takes place inside of Adler's head as he's getting deprogrammed. Part of this map is actually red doors that you can go through, and it'll teleport you to different spots on the map. Very different than what we have seen so far in Black Ops Cold War. Almost reminds me a little bit of more of what we saw in like Black Ops 3, so kind of interesting to me. But once the playlists go live tomorrow, we are first of all going to have Deprogram 24/7. The second map that we have is Glabuko. I'm probably saying that wrong, but as far as this goes, this is the Gunfight map. So first of all, we're going to have a new gunfight tournament coming out with the beginning of the season, but on top of that, they're going to have a face-off 24/7 on Glabuko as well. This takes place inside the KGB headquarters. You see this as part of the mission within the campaign, so nothing crazy new here, but it should be a cool map. Now, the third and final map we have is called America, spelt with a K, and as far as this one goes, this takes place once again in another one of the campaign missions in the kind of fake American town within Soviet Russia. Now, as far as this goes, the Burger Town is a part of this map, and apparently Bubby is going to be saying some things, so make sure you pay attention to that as well. Now, besides this, they do say that we're going to be getting more multiplayer content at the beginning of the Haunting event, which we're going to get information on the 18th, and will be coming out on the 19th of October. Now, once again, tomorrow we have the Battle Pass coming out, which includes Alex Mason, but also two new weapons, the .410 Ironhide. As far as this goes, this is a lever action shotgun. It's going to be interesting. It's a very heavy hitter with a slow fire rate. It's going to be interesting. It should be good in multiplayer. Not sure about Warzone though. And then the second weapon that we have is the Grav assault rifle. This one, based off of their description of it, I think will be good within Warzone. We'll have to wait and see though. But as far as these two weapons, they'll both be in the battle pass. The Ironhide at tier 15 and the Grav at tier 31. So as far as all of the individual weapon changes and things like that, we have the EM2 assault rifle with a reduced maximum damage from 48 to 42, increased vertical recoil on the first bullet. They removed a minus 7% fire rate penalty from the 25.8 task force barrel, and finally they increased the horizontal recoil control penalty on the task force barrel as well. As far as this goes, essentially what you need to know is that this is a overall nerf to the weapon. That 48 to 42 damage is a pretty damn big deal, so this is going to be a little bit worse in multiplayer now. The second weapon we have is the C58, specifically to the Stanag 60 round drum, and as far as this goes, they added a 12% horizontal recoil reduction, so that's a buff, and added an 8% vertical recoil reduction on the round drum as well. That's a pretty big deal. Basically, if you use this round drum, you get a big reduction to recoil now. Moving on to SMGs, first off, we have the Tech 9 with reduced ADS speed. What that means is they increased the time from 0.233 seconds to 0.266 seconds. Similarly, with the sprint to fire speed from 0.3 seconds to 0.333 seconds. They reduced the weapon swap speed, so again, increasing the time from 0.35 to 0.375. And finally, they increased the effective range penalty on the burst fire repeater muzzle attachment from 15 to 33%. All in all, a big nerf to this weapon. After that, the KSP-45, they reduced the headshot multiplier from 1.4 times to 1.33 times, and they increased the damage increase of the task force barrel to 8%. Similarly, with the LC-10, they reduced the headshot multiplier from 1.4 to 1.33 as well. After this, we have the pistol, the Marshal, aka the kind of shotgun. With this one, they reduced the max damage range from 5.08 meters to 3.81 meters. They reduced the firing speed from 0.35 seconds to 0.366 seconds. They increased the range penalty on the Dragon's Breath attachment to 25%. And finally, the bonus damage from Dragon's Breath is now reduced at ranges beyond 6.66 meters. So essentially, with all of this, it's just a overall nerf to the Marshal. Moving on to shotguns, first of all, we have with all shotguns, they increased the effective damage range bonus from the Ranger barrel to 33%. Now, specifically for the Howler 77, they added a slightly longer visual shake after firing, just kind of makes it harder to see, basically. With the Street Sweeper, they added a more dramatic visual and weapon movement when firing, so kind of similar to the Howler. And then finally, we have the Nail Gun. With this one, shots to the head and neck now do 2 times damage. Pretty straightforward. So moving on to zombies, first, the biggest thing, we have the new map, the final map of this game, which is called Forsaken. Now, as far as this one goes, once again, it takes place in the same kind of area that we saw America in with the multiplayer map and from the campaign. And as far as this goes, it is the final, it is the coup de grace of the Black Ops Cold War Zombies story. Now, as we know, with Vanguard, it's going to take place actually before this, so if you're interested in the story, make sure you get your hands on this map and play through it, see what the story is all about. Now, we also have our normal additional content when we get new zombies map. First of all, the next wonder weapon is called the Crystal Axe. This one is a melee weapon. Not exactly 100% sure how this one's going to work at this point, but you can clearly see it here. Then we have our new additions item-wise. So first of all, you have the ARCXD, which stands for the Ether Remote Controlled Explosive Device, which is essentially an RCXD in zombies, and the hand cannon, which you can see Alex Mason with here as well. And then finally, we have our new perk, which is called PhD Slider to replace PhD Flopper. And we did get the different tiers for this one. So first of all, the base ability, sliding into enemies triggers an explosion. The size and damage increase the farther you slide before impact. Now, the skill tiers are as follows. Skill tier 1, immunity to environmental damage while sliding. Tier 2, increased slide duration. Tier 3, immunity to self-inflicted explosive damage, which is of course going to be a very important tier. Tier 4, increased slide speed. And finally, Tier 5, falling from a large height will trigger an explosion. The size and damage increase the higher you fall, which could be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of places you can use that on various different zombies maps. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is everything that is coming to Black Ops Cold War within Season 6. Tomorrow night, we will get the actual launch, the battle pass, everything like that. So be sure to stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, turn notifications on, all of that jazz. Let me know what you think of all of this down in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed, it is always appreciated if you hit that like button. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars.